Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm mixing stuff a little bit and take you outside with me today. So this week, I'd like to talk about value. Now, there are three primary perceptions of value, and of those three perceptions, there's one that will benefit you the most in your life. So, one perception of value is that we produce value through our perception of it. That we ourselves, as an individual expression of the universe and a singular conscious experience that will never once again be experienced, then create value in our own lives and through this experience. There's some merit to that belief, but that would be to not recognize that we experience this life with other sentient beings as well, and that outside of a perception, this physical reality does exist, and so we can't solely produce and create value as individual units of consciousness. The second perception of value is that because we can never truly know the meaning behind our life, our experience, our existence, then we have to make the assumption that there is no meaning and that there is no value in anything, because the meaning and value isn't all that apparent. Now, I have to disagree with this, but I feel that that's just a very nihilistic and depressing outlook and perception, and it won't benefit you in your life very much. And just because you can't perceive meaning doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So I take the third approach, the one that a lot of people kind of forget about, because most people actually get trapped in the first perception of it, creating value for themselves and their lives, and that's actually a typical response to nihilism and feeling like there's nothing to be valued is to create value. But I say instead that if the human mind is incapable of consciously perceiving an inherent meaning or value behind everything, then that means that everything has a potentially unlimited value, and that everything is equally valuable, and that value that everything has is, as I said, a boundless value that has no limit. Because in reality, value is a very subjective thing, how much something is worth. So to say something has no worth, that's very subjective. To say something is worth a lot, that's also subjective. But to say that you can never know the worth of an object and therefore has potentially unlimited worth. Unlimited worth would then be the same as saying it has a worth that cannot be assigned. And that's what everything has. A worth that cannot be assigned, and thus an unlimited potential for value. Now, with that being said, that means that at any given moment, whenever you say something is valuable or not valuable, it doesn't matter what it is, you're limiting the potential for infinite value through your perception of it. So instead of something being unlimitedly valuable, it is now limited. Even if it's something that you perceive to be great, like you hold someone to a high esteem, or you really respect anything, any thoughts or ideas or objects, whatever it is, you're saying, whenever you say it's valuable, even, you're limiting its value, because now its value has been assigned to it through your perception of it. Now, that doesn't mean to say that it is literally limited, but it is limited in your perception of it, which takes away from the impact that it can have for you in your life. You see, because when you perceive something as having limited value, now you're not getting as much from that thing. as you would as if you saw it as being unlimited in its value. So what I'm saying then is that the best way that you can live would be to view everything as having an unlimited value. Now, the first question then, or concern that people have is, what about the problem of evil, wickedness, people that you disagree with, ideas that you don't condone? How can I say that these things have an unlimited value? Well, my channel and my ideas are wholly centered around what is the best way for you to live your life and how you can get the most meaning in your life. And so instead of getting lost in the ethics and morality, I want to instead focus on the impact that those ideas have on you. Whenever you assign a person as having limited value, you're actually limiting your own value because you're comparing that person to yourself. In order to compare the value of another person to the value of yourself, you have to first assign a value to yourself. So anytime that you're judging somebody else, you're actually in the process devaluing yourself. And that is not a good way to live your life. It doesn't matter what your perception of it is. When you're saying that you have a set value that's above someone else, that you still have a set value, which means you have to be beneath something. And you should never, for that reason, you should not judge others, and you should not judge yourself in the process. And this is true for any type of judgment you have on someone, positive or negative. If you believe someone's better than you or you idolize them, you're once more devaluing yourself. So you have to look at everything as being equally boundless in value, and in doing so, you see yourself as being equally boundless in value. And that's really I'll close with this then. With that being said, if we're talking about a value that cannot be perceived by the human brain because of the fact that it is boundless and our minds cannot recognize an infinite value, then that has deep implications for how you ought to view yourself. Now, obviously, I'm saying that we should then, okay, so think about somebody or something that you do love intensely, that in your mind you've always seen as having high value. I mean, if you were to amp that up and see it as being an endless value, how would you feel about them, that person, that thing? If you can't even consciously perceive how much love and respect that you ought to have for them, then how would you treat them? Now, take that same idea and apply it to yourself. How would you treat yourself? How would you live your life if you believe that you're a being worthy of an infinite love, an infinite value, and that you deserve the best? We don't view ourselves like that. The majority of us don't, and that's the problem. But just taking the time to consider it is already working toward a solution. So just keep this in mind, and through the rest of your day, through the rest of your week, treat yourself with that value and apply that same value to others. And in doing so, you will stop limiting the beauty that is contained in this world by constantly limiting the value. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I appreciate your time. If you found this helpful, please like, share, subscribe, comment if you will. And I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you.